So I grew up in Colorado, and my parents are super active and outdoorsy. So even when I couldn't walk yet, they would carry me in like a backpack and go hiking with me. And then as soon as I could walk, they would take me on hikes, take me outside. And then ever since I was young, I was really lucky that my parents would let me go to this like 1 week outdoor camp. So we would go backpacking and camping and hiking and rafting and do all these outdoor things. So I feel like that really started it all. And that also helped me like be self-sufficient in the outdoors because I'd be like away from my parents. And then by the time it was like towards middle of high school, I would be there for like a month at a time. And then do you want to hear more?
Yeah, tell me, yeah.
My summer after my senior year of high school, I did this program called NOLS, which is National Outdoor Leadership School. And that was 1 month backpacking and kayaking in Alaska. And that was like with 11 other people. And we were completely off the grid and had no like GPS or cell phones or anything. So we were using like paper maps to navigate. And then we would get a food drop like halfway through. But other than that, it was like completely self-sufficient and we had to do our own route finding and everything. And I feel like that was pretty hardcore because in parts of the Alaskan wilderness, like there's just no trails. Like we were completely off trails. So we'd be like bushwhacking. There was a time like that we thought we could go one way, but then there was a super big valley, like just a cliff. So we had to make this huge detour and just stuff like that. So I feel like all of those outdoor experiences really started all of it.
Wow. How often have you done those no technology outdoor activities?
Every year, pretty much. I try to do it a lot. My most recent one was this summer. My friends and I went on like a 1 week backpacking and hiking trip to Utah.
Yeah. Have you ever found yourself in a situation during one of those, adventures where you had to call for like help, like try to find help from outside?
Luckily, no. But as part of being in the outdoors, you're just bound to encounter mishaps. So one example is we had a 1 week trip where literally everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. So our first day, we had to get someone like evacuated. We didn't have to call for outside help, but we did have to like hike him all the way back to the trailhead again because he had really bad altitude sickness. And so it was like puking all over the trail. And so we didn't get to our campsite until 3 a.m. And with backpacking, you usually want to go to bed by like 8 to 10 p.m. because you wake up around 6 or 7 when the sun rises. And then you have like 8 to 15 miles to hike that day, depending on what day and like where you're going. So that was like the first day of the trip. And then throughout the trip, it poured rain. So then all of our stuff got soaked. There's these things called bear bags where you have to like hang your stuff in a tree so that the bears don't like come eat you and rummage through your stuff. And you need to find like strong tree branches, but all of the trees there were dead. So it took us like 2 hours to find a tree to hang our bear bag. And so we also didn't go to bed until 1 a.m. that morning. One girl's shoes, the soles of her hiking boots like fell off. So we had to like duct tape them back on. One of my other friends was just getting like constant nosebleeds. I think we hiked over we stopped counting at like 250 fallen trees because the trail was like really poorly maintained and a lot of trees had fallen over. So that was like definitely a big mishap trip. Oh, and one of the people like was going to the bathroom in the woods, and when he was running back, we were like, "Evan, where are you, Evan?" And then he like ran back and hit his head like on a log. So that wasn't great. So just a lot of mishaps, but I feel like that's what bonds people on trips like this, and it's something we like to call type 2 fun.
Okay, type 2 fun.
Yeah.
Would you say that was the most difficult hike you've ever been on?
Probably not. I don't know what my most difficult one would be. Honestly, definitely in Alaska, because we were backpacking with like 50 to 60 pound backpacks and bushwhacking through trees like the size of us, or sometimes like brush. So you'd just be like covered in cuts and like different plants by the end of the day and like super tired and dirty. and then you still have to set up camp and cook and find water and all that stuff. So it was definitely hard, but I think it's hard in a different way. Like, it's good hard. It pushes you to go outside your comfort zone and like grow as a person.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with you on that. I mean, my first outdoor adventure was our, canoeing.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That was really cool. That was my first time that I was outside like for 3 days in the woods. It was something new to me, and it was really fun. I really enjoyed it because I didn't have to use my phone for the first time in a very long time, and it felt really good. I was able to go without my phone for 3 days, so that was really fun. And ever since I've been wanting to do it one more time, but I never had a chance to. But I'm still looking into it. Maybe
you should do it again. Or like, oh,
go ahead.
Should we tell them the context?
Yeah.
So I was Wahab's wolf leader, which is like our outdoor orientation trip, and it's for all the freshmen coming into college to like get them to bond and meet new people. So we were the canoeing trip and we had a blast, but also there was a lot of mishaps on that one. We were like splashing each other with water in our canoes to the point that there was like, I don't know, 4 inches of water in our boats. So then all of our food got wet and someone's sleeping bag got wet. But we had a great time. We had like mud fights. Yeah.
That was really cool. So that one time, I didn't tell you guys I did not know how to swim. And all one time I jumped into
He lied to us and told us that he knew how to swim. And so we were all like jumping off the dock. And Wahab goes and he does this like great belly flop. He just like, woo, and just like smacks into the water. And then he's just like kind of like lying there in the water. And we're like, Wahab. And he's like, I can't swim. So we all have to like drag him to the shore. But that was part of the questionnaire to come in. But everything was okay. We made it through. Everyone survived.
Yeah, that was really fun. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I should learn how to swim.
You should learn how to swim.
Yeah. So could you describe how the preparation is like for a very long hike?
Yeah. Okay, for backpacking, I'd say it's a lot of like gear preparation. So usually make a long list, especially if you're doing a week or more. From your backpack to your layers to your gear, like needing headlamps and shoes and rain jackets and cooking supplies and like multi-tools, all of that. You usually make a long list of things that you need, and then you get all that gear together. And then a big one is also food. So like rationing, what you're going to cook, how much it's going to weigh, how much food you need for the amount of people. And then water is a big one, figuring out like where you're going to get water, if you're going to use a water pump, or if you're going to boil your water, if you're going to bring in water, like what that's going to look like. If you're in bear country, how you're going to deal with that. If you're going to use bear bins, if you're going to bear bag. And then like the bathroom. So like, are you going to use a wag bag? Like, do you need to pack out your waste, or can you like dig a hole? Yeah.
So you have to get all those stuff.
Yeah. Oh, and maps. Big thing. Like plan your route and evacuation preparation. Like if something were to happen, checking the weather forecast, stuff like that.
Yeah. So before you go to a place, do you have to know how it looks like whether it has trails, what's the nature of the place and stuff like that, or you just go and expect whatever it is there, just go for it like that?
I think it depends how experienced you are. I think a good entry point is definitely starting on trails with like maybe pre-existing campsites. But as you get more experience, there's certain areas that will let you go off trail or like just wander on your own. Especially in Alaska, there aren't really trails, so you do just have to kind of go wherever. But being good about route finding, because if you don't have a trail, it's really easy to get lost. So you need to know how to use a compass. You need to know how to position yourself with the map to like see where you are, and measure distances, stuff like that, so that you don't get lost.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds interesting. I have a friend, right, who told me that hiking is a fancy name for walking. And I was trying to like argue with this person that it's different, that it's fun and all that, right? But I couldn't convince that person. So if you were to talk to this person, how would you convince them that hiking is not just a fancy name for walking?
I mean, in a way it is. I mean, you're still like moving your 2 feet on the ground. But I think what distinguishes like hiking from what people normally considering just walking is usually you're on a trail or you're in nature, as opposed to walking. You might be like on the sidewalk or on a like flat path. It usually has to do with like gaining elevation. And I guess hiking has a more greater association with immersing yourself in the outdoors.
What would you say is the most breathtaking place you've ever hiked?
Most breathtaking. Oh, that's so hard. Colorado and Utah.
Could you
Both of
describe
them.
how it's like?
Colorado just has these massive mountains. You get up and you feel like you're on top of the world, especially if you hike at a time when there are clouds or like at sunrise. You'll like go through the clouds and you'll get to the top of the peak and it'll just be like a sea of clouds. Like, you know, when you look out the airplane and you see a sea of clouds, like that's what you can hike to. And you're just like on the top of a mountain and it's like, wow, I got here with like my own 2 feet. So there's a lot of mountains like that in Colorado, and then just like beautiful lush greenery. And if you go in summer, there's like wildflowers, waterfalls, rivers. Like it's just so beautiful. And then Utah's just really cool because everything's orange. Like it's really cool rock formations that are super unique that you wouldn't see anywhere else. And it kind of feels like you're on Mars when you go hiking there. And just it reminds you how small we are as humans and like how big and beautiful the earth is when you're
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. So from my one, canoeing experience, wolf experience, I know that hiking and those outdoor adventures have a lot of fun but also embarrassing moments. What would you say was the like funniest or most embarrassing moment that you've ever had on one of these adventures?
Is this too crass? Maybe you can cut this out if it's too crass. I remember I was really embarrassed once because when you're out in nature and you're like backpacking, you have to go to the bathroom in the woods. And so my friends and I went to this like valley that had like these logs, and we're like, okay, we're just gonna stand on these logs and like pee into the valley. And I was like trying to position myself, and I fall like with like my bare bottom onto these like spiky logs. So that was pretty embarrassing that I fell there. I'm sure there's other embarrassing things that have happened, but I can't remember. Another one is that it was like pouring rain, and my friend and I were like trying to set up our tent, and we just like could not. It was there's these like certain types of tents that are really easy. You just stake in the 4 corners and then you put this pole in the middle. But the soil was like really loose in the area because it had rained so much. It was just like very soggy soil. So we would like go into the tent and you can extend the pole higher. So it was like kind of low and saggy, and it was pouring rain, and we like finally got it to stay. And I was like, I go into the tent with my friend and I'm like, I think I can get a little bit higher, like a little bit higher. So, and she's like, Maya, no, don't touch it. And I go to raise it a little higher, and all of our stakes come out. And like, we're just exposed to the pouring rain, and we're like running around, like trying to stake it back in. Like all of our clothes are getting wet. And like, we finally get it back in again. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to touch the pool anymore. And we're just like dying laughing.
So, yeah, that was really fun. How did your colleagues feel about that?
How did what?
Your friends, how did they feel?
My friend just thought it was really funny.
Yeah. I think so too. It's really, really fun. You mentioned that it's very important food when you're preparing for a hike, to get the food and stuff like that. What's your favorite trail snack?
Oh, that's such a good question. Wait, I need to think about this. Okay. Ooh. Okay, can I give 2 answers?
Yeah.
Freeze-dried fruit, so good. Like some good freeze-dried mango, or tortillas. So you take tortillas and then you bring like pizza sauce in a bottle and cheese.
Oh,
and you make like a pizza.
Yeah. I've tried that before.
Yeah.
And now,
on our trip. Yeah, they're my favorite. I love them.
Yeah. I also tried dried fruits. That was also my first time, and it was really good.
Yeah. You need to try freeze-dried fruit, though. It's better.
Okay, I'll try that one. I feel like I thought I kind of tasted some, was it dates? Did they have dates in there?
They had prunes. I think it was like prunes, pineapple, apricots, banana chips.
Yeah.
I think that was it.
Williams is really hard, a lot of work and stuff like that. How are you able to balance your outdoor activities with your schoolwork?
Yeah, I think it's just like priorities. I think last semester was really hard because I had a really hard course load, so I wasn't able to get outside as much as I wanted to. But all other semesters at Williams, I just try and prioritize it. Like, I know a lot of people are very stressed all the time, but at a certain point, it's like being stressed doesn't help at all. Like, it doesn't make anything better. It doesn't make the work go away. So at a certain point, like, just being like, I need to take a break. I need to go outside. I need to go do something fun. Like, if it's a nice day out, I'll just go and do it. And like ask my friends. Like, in the fall, it was a nice day, so I asked my friends to go to the river just like spontaneously. And I think it's those spontaneous moments that matter. Like the moment where you're like, oh, it's nice out, but no, I need to go inside and study. Instead, choosing like, oh, I'll go outside, because in 10 years, you're not going to remember like the one paper. You're probably going to remember hang out with your friends and like.
I agree. Would you say hiking is your favorite outdoor activity, or do you have it?
Skiing. It feels like you're flying. Like that when you're just in the zone and like nothing else matters and you're just feeling the wind against your face and you just feel very like free. Yeah. But it's also dangerous and can be scary.
Yeah. One of my friends actually got injured during skiing, and it looks dangerous to me, so I haven't tried it yet. But how long would you say it takes to learn to be able to do it on your own without any help?
I think you can. It depends like what level you want to be. Like, I think anyone can learn. I think you can make it down a green or blue, which are like the easier runs within your first day. But it does take time, like anything. I think it's like developing any other skill. And another big issue with skiing is that it's not very accessible. It is like definitely an expensive sport. And I wish it was more accessible, and I wish more people had the opportunity. And then also, like you said, it is easy to get injured, especially when you're starting out, just because of the speed and the equipment, like, and that you're going downhill. And so that is like definitely something to be careful about, and something that I try to be cognizant about, but you can't always control what happens.
Yeah, that's true. How about snowboarding?
I've tried snowboarding last year. I think it's way harder than skiing, but I'm also biased. A lot of people think that it's more fun, but I really like skiing.
Okay, cool. If you were to convince someone to go on a hike based on your numerous experiences hiking, how would you convince this person?
I would just say, like, it's a chance to move your body. It's a chance to get outside. And I think, like, just if you think that you won't like it, how would you know if you haven't tried it yet? And yeah, I think going outside and being outside makes everyone happier. I think everyone could have something to benefit from being outside. And it doesn't have to be hiking. Like, hiking's not for everyone. But just like taking the time to get some vitamin D and see the world and appreciate the world that we live in.
I agree. Also, do you prefer solo outdoor activities, or you prefer doing it with friends?
Definitely with friends. I think there is a beauty to being in nature by yourself. I think you can appreciate it, and there's a certain serenity. But when I think about what's important in life, it's social connection and the friends that you make and the people that you build relationships with. I feel like that's ultimately what makes a fulfilled life. And I think the beauty of the outdoors is like sharing it with people. I think experiencing it, like our wolf trip, it just brings people together. So definitely with other people.
Yeah, that's cool. Do you have a dream outdoor destination?
I mean, I think the U.S. is so underrated. Like, I really want to van life around the U.S. for a bit just to see all the beautiful wonders. I think, honestly, every country has something to offer. So I don't have a dream. I think it'd be cool to go to South Asia, though, like Thailand, Vietnam.
What's the most unusual item you've ever packed for a trip?
Unusual item? Okay, wait, give me a minute. Think about this. That's so hard.
Maybe you don't have one. You've never packed anything unusual.
Yeah, I think because when you're backpacking, you really have to like pare down. Like every piece of weight matters. But back when I was younger, our like counselors at our camp would always say like you're not allowed to pack anything extra. You have to leave your stuffed animals behind. Like you're not allowed to bring them because it's extra weight. But I had this like dog stuffed animal named Snoopy, and I loved Snoopy, and I brought Snoopy everywhere I went. So I was like, I'm sneaking Snoopy into my backpack. So I brought Snoopy on the backpacking trip. So maybe that.
Oh, that's interesting. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it. Do you have some final words for like people who haven't tried the outdoors?
I think there's definitely parts of the outdoor industry that are inaccessible or expensive, but I think starting out, like anyone can do it. All you have to do is just go to your local trailhead, go outside, go for a walk, and like I really think it's great for anyone to do. And like you might be scared to do it alone, but there's plenty of places to find other people who will go with you. And also, it's great to go alone. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing that.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next video. Peace out. Bye-bye.